fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Animated Universe Bumblebee from the Transformers Legacy United line from Hasbro. So continuing on with the animated roster here, almost have the entire core team. Very excited to take a look at Bumblebee. Some nice artwork of the vehicle mode here on the front, and then some nice artwork of the robot mode over here on the side. The other side, of course, has one half of the United mural, as they do every year. Not really much going on the bottom, and then up here, if I move the cardboard J-hook out of the way, we have the Transformers Legacy United logo, and then over here on the back we have some product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. I'm pretty excited for this one. I've always liked animated Bumblebee. Let's go ahead, let's get him out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. Here is animated Bumblebee out of the packaging, and I think they did an absolutely fantastic job. There's really no kibble whatsoever. I mean, you do have a little bit of the backpack here, which is kind of like the roof and back of the car, but it really compresses nicely and doesn't really get in the way of any kind of articulation. The legs and arms are all pretty solid, not really any kibble hanging there. There's not really any hollow spots or anything like that, so I'm pretty happy with this guy. Now, he is definitely one of the smaller deluxes that we've pretty much ever seen. And just to illustrate that, I'm going to zoom out here so we can pop in some of his animated compatriots. Here is animated Optimus Prime. Here is animated Prowl. And then just for fun, we can put in an Auto Trooper as well. Kind of build out the animated roster here. Now, technically we have a bulkhead, but it's really Prime Universe bulkhead, but you could probably use it with these guys if you want. I seriously doubt they're going to do an animated bulkhead and have two bulkheads in this line at the same time, especially considering what a shelf warmer Prime bulkhead was. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I like having this together here, but as you can see, Bumblebee definitely incredibly small, even compared to Prowl, who is also a deluxe. It's a very small figure, but I feel like they were able to kind of make him very solid and pack him in. You know, there's no hollow spots or anything like that. With Prowl, you can see, you know, you have some hollow spots around and things like that. I mean, I guess he's pretty solid, but like he's got the hollow forearms and everything. Still looks pretty cool. But yeah, I like that we're building the roster out here. Again, I don't know if we'll see an animated Ratchet because there's so many Ratchets across the various lines. So we'll see. I don't know how much more of the core team here we'll get, but so far, these guys are looking pretty great together here. So getting back to Bumblebee, first up, the head sculpt. They did such a great job. I think that is so indicative of the animated art style. Have the massive chin, tiny little smirk. All the paint applications are really sharp. Blue for the eyes, silver for the face. All of the black lining and everything like that. Nice Autobot symbol here on the front. Now, as you can probably tell, this back section here in the chest is done out of translucent plastic. Not really sure why. I guess just it was easier. I'm still of the mind that I wish they would stop using translucent plastic altogether. And if you have a windshield or something, just paint it. I'd rather you honestly just paint it. But here, you know, we are where we are. So hopefully over time, this plastic, translucent plastic will hold up. But we shall see. But absolutely love the head sculpt. And you have a really nice ball joint for the head sculpt. So you can really ridiculously look up, and I think that's because he does come with rocket boosters that I'll get to in a moment, and so that way while he's flying he can actually look up, which I think is a really nice touch. Now this piece here kind of pegs in, and if you're moving the head around, it's very easy for that to unpeg, so just, you know, that can be slightly annoying, and I think it's just because the ball joint for the head is very tight on mine, so hopefully that'll loosen up over time. But moving side to side, no problem. Like I said, looking up and down. You have a nice kind of hinge here in the shoulder. So there's actually a hinge back here, and then there's a rotation up here. So you can see the pin right there. So the hinge is actually in the back, and then in front of that is the rotation. So you still get the full range of motion there for the shoulder, just two different joints. Then you have another pin here, so you can move that around. You have a bicep swivel right above the elbow. 90 degrees in the elbow. Do we have a wrist? Yeah, we still have a wrist rotation, even though it has like a swivel gimmick, which we'll get into in a moment. So that's pretty impressive. Now these pieces can kind of move around, mostly for transformation, but if you wanted to utilize that for articulation and robot mode, you certainly could. Really nice waist swivel. Really appreciate that. That's why I was saying none of that back kibble or anything gets in the way of any of the articulation. Kick pretty far forward, kind of hits into a little bit of this skirt piece here, but kick pretty far forward. Really far back. Let me move the arm out of the way. You can kick really far out to the side. Got a thigh swivel there. I would say at least 90, maybe slightly over 90 there in the knees. And you kind of have this like little knee pad piece here that's actually connected here, but it's nice that it kind of, you know, is there but doesn't get in the way and it doesn't move, so that's kind of nice. You don't get much in the way of ankle tilt, and the reason for that is because of how this transforms. This is kind of hitting into the side of the leg there, which is kind of a bummer, but it gives you enough that you can do something with it. And you have a little bit of front to back, but again, this piece is kind of hitting into the back, so you can kind of go forward a little bit, but can't really go back at all. And then he's got these super tiny little heels back here. But overall, I think it's a fun little robot mode. I like it quite a bit. Let's get into his accessories. So as I mentioned, he has those little rocket booster pieces. They are done out of this kind of smoky translucent plastic, I guess. It's not quite clear. It's got a little bit of gray to it. But if you want, he can hold these. If you want to, for some reason, pretend they are, you know, weapons of some kind. Otherwise, you can peg them in here on the back as rocket boosters. And then that way, while he's flying, you can go ahead and utilize that ball joint where he can look really far forward, which I think is really cool. So I appreciate that little attention to detail there. So I'll leave the rocket boosters on the back for now. Also, you get these two little stinger pieces. We saw several times on the show where he would kind of transform his arms and put them together and form this little stinger weapon here. So what you can do, if you flip this open, rotate the fist in and close it back up, you have these little pieces here. So what they want you to do is rotate this and then kind of bend this way and then pop one of these in. Now, if you want to have him using these singly, you can, but they're definitely meant more to connect together. So because of the angle, like if you were going to have him just use these as weapons, it's a little awkward, as you can see, to use them singly, and they kind of hit into the bottom of this. So they're really meant to come together, which they do nicely, but I know sometimes he would kind of use them singly as well, and it's a little awkward to have him use them singly, unfortunately. But if we peg this in, and then we bend this using that elbow and bicep swivel, you can put these together. All right. Rotate this more. The joints are kind of tight, but like I said, which is a good thing ultimately. They should loosen a little bit over time, better than them starting out loose, but there we go. So you can peg those together, and then he can use the stinger weapon, which is pretty cool. I do kind of wish he also just kind of came with like a regular gun. I don't know if he had one in the show. I kind of don't think he did, but I kind of wish he did just have a regular weapon of some kind. I mean, I'm sure we can just, one of those accessory packs or things that they do from time to time, I could nab something from that if I really wanted to. But the other thing you can do, actually two other things you can do, so let me split these apart, which can be a little difficult. I mean, they really connect together quite well. And these are done in a translucent blue plastic and then painted silver to get that stripy effect, which is cool. The directions show like popping these in and almost pretending they're like contrails, like effect pieces. So you could do something like that. You could also probably peg regular effect pieces in there. I haven't tried it. I don't have any handy, but they also show you just using these together as like a blaster. So if you kind of wanted to give him more of a traditional gun, you could do something like that. So, a lot of options. I mean, I like the accessories. I think they give you a lot of options with them, which is really cool. So that's nice. I'm going to put those off to the side for now, and we'll go ahead and get into the transformation. I like the transformation for this guy a lot. I think it's really fun. I think it's, you know, difficult, but not too difficult. You know, just intricate enough. And, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So, I'm going to start by switching the hands. The directions have you do this way late in the process, but I think it's so much easier to just do it now. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. Then you're going to grab a hold of the chest section here and disconnect this. So you can see that there was a large tab right there, which was pegged in there. And then you want to kind of like bring it down a little bit so that the head has room to pass through this area here. And then you're going to bring this up and it's just going to meet there, you know, just to kind of sit flush with the rest of the roof of the car. Then we're going to come down to the legs. We are going to open up these sections here. You can go ahead and fold in these little panels. You're going to fold up the legs, and then you're going to rotate this section all the way around. Fold up the little heel, which can be an easy step to miss because it's so small. And then you're going to close this back up over here on that side. So repeating that process, fold up that little heel, open up the shin section, fold in the little knee pad, rotate that 180, fold up the foot, then come back around here, close that up, and then just peg the two halves together. And that, of course, is going to form the front of the vehicle. And there is a little clip in here as well that you want to make sure that you get right there. So just make sure that all pegs in. Then you're going to rotate at the waist 180 degrees. And then this whole section will actually unhook. It's kind of difficult because it really kind of hooks in. So you sometimes when I was first doing it, I'm like, are we sure this is supposed to move? But yeah, you can see the big pin right there. So this is going to come around, and then you can see that there are two tabs here, and they're going to tab in here and here. Now you might think, oh, I'm supposed to put this here where it stops. No, you're actually going to cover a decent amount of this section. So this is going to come in and peg in there. So you can see that it actually overlaps quite a bit. Then you're going to take the arms, and on that pin that I showed you earlier, rock it back. You're going to open up this section and then rotate this so that it can come up and form the side of the vehicle just like that. And then you want to kind of bring this around and start to rock this back, and then you have to push this up. Okay, hold on a sec. The hand is starting to rotate back on me, which I don't want. So make sure this is up. That goes there. Then you want to tuck this underneath kind of as you're pushing this back still. And then this all fits under here. Like that. Although it's not quite going where it's supposed to go for me. There we go. So you can see that's the full side of the car there. So we're going to do that again. Hopefully execute it a little bit better this time. This is going to flip up, rotate 90 degrees, come up. Make sure that goes under there. Okay, so now we have pretty much the entire vehicle mode done. We're going to open up this section, flip this down. This will snap in here. And then there are two little tabs on the inside here and here that this will peg into. And there we go. There is animated Bumblebee in vehicle mode. So the vehicle mode is super tiny. It rolls really well, like insanely well. Like I can't believe how great that rolls. It's just, it's a fun, tiny little vehicle. I don't know, for Bumblebee, I feel like it's just part of his charm. I think there's something to him just being so tiny that really works. So I know it's a deluxe and it can feel like you're not quite getting your money's worth, but he's just fun. I like it a lot. Again, the Autobot symbol, you have the black racing stripe, you have a little translucent siren there, or light bar piece, I guess, whatever you want to call it. You can go ahead and still utilize the little boosters if you want, popping them in there to give them a little speed boost. If also you wanted to peg them on the side over here, you could certainly do that as well. He's got a little connection right there. But I mean, it's definitely, like I have, here's medics and vehicle mode. You can see it's definitely small. So I mean, these are both deluxes, and Medics is quite a bit bigger than Bumblebee. But I mean, it's a fun little robot mode, and it just compacts so perfectly into this tiny little vehicle mode. And I don't know, like I said, there's just something about him being so tiny that I think is part of the charm. And yeah, I really like it a lot. I think Bumblebee is a ton of fun. I mean, there's not really much to complain about here. Yes, he is a smaller deluxe than we're used to, and it does kind of feel like deluxes are starting to trend smaller, which ultimately I'm not happy about. But for characters like Bumblebee, I think it makes sense. I mean, it's just such a fun, charming little figure. The robot mode's great. The vehicle mode is great. The transformation is like just intricate enough that it's fun, but not so much that it's like frustrating or annoying, which is kind of the sweet spot for Transformers. So I'm just having a lot of fun with them. We're building out the animated cast, which is a lot of fun. Like I said, I don't think we're going to get another Bulkhead, and I don't know if we'll get a Ratchet just because that character's kind of floating around all the time in other forms. But the ones we've gotten so far I've really enjoyed, so I'm interested to see what else they do. I would imagine we'll probably get some repaints of this figure because I know he had different iterations. I think there was Wasp, which was like a Decepticon repaint of Bumblebee. Maybe that, like, you know, black and gold color scheme for him that we've seen in the past. So again, it's a fun little figure. I definitely like it a lot. Probably will see it repainted again as something else. But I would be into it because, like I said, it's a great little figure and I really like it. I don't want to say I was surprised at how much I like it because I expected to like it, but I've really, really enjoyed it even more than I thought I would. I guess I'll say that. The only thing I'm a little worried about is that translucent plastic, but as long as that holds up over time, knock on wood, we should be fine. But yeah, I just think it's fun. I mean, if you don't like the animated series at all, you're not a fan of that aesthetic at all, I can understand that. But otherwise, I definitely recommend checking it out. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.